Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. We are here in January 2025. This is my first Zen Withins'day of the year. I felt like I needed to be outside, so I thought I'd take you all with me and record outside today. We have a healing circle tonight. I want to mention that before I get into my update, called Remembering Who You Are. And this particular healing circle is going to set the tone for the energies that we're going to be working with in 2025. And the essence of it is that we've spent the last 5 years, it seems, being thrown from one trauma response to another in the collective and from one difficult experience to another in the collective. And what the guides have been reminding me of is that we've lost some of our creatorship and our personal power in that process. And we've gotten pulled into so much duality, and we've forgotten the power that we have as individuals to create change, not only in our life but also in the collective consciousness. And so tonight, the creator beings and my 12th dimensional team will be coming in and bringing through information and an activation to help us remember the truth of who we are and remember our power and remember that it is possible for us to create change even when there are things around us that are falling apart. And I think this is going to be a really hopeful and beautiful journey tonight. It feels a little bit like a journey in tonight's healing activation and in our call. So you can find out more about that below this video. It's tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. If you are watching this video later, you can always grab the recording. And what I always tell people, if you don't attend any other healing circle in the year, like, this is the one that kind of sets the tone for the entire year and will give you a tool that you can always refer back to, an activation that you can always refer back to as we move through the energies of 2025. So I want to talk today a little bit about the energies that are at play and what I'm noticing in the collective, and give you all a little insight into why you might be feeling some of the things that you're feeling. In sessions so far this year, I've done, I don't know, a half a dozen or a dozen sessions so far this year already. The theme that keeps coming up for people is the word Dharma. And I actually had to go and look it up because the definition that my guides gave me, I wasn't sure if it coincided with the definition that's widely known. I studied yoga and have studied yoga for a long time and been a yoga practitioner and a teacher off and on. And so my definition of Dharma from that was our soul's work, our soul's purpose. And when I looked up the definition, it doesn't have one. It's interesting. It's an interesting word. But the definition that the guides have been bringing in is this idea of being in alignment and living in alignment with the truth of who we are and our values. And as we live in that alignment, we are creating change by being our most authentic selves. And sometimes people define Dharma as your work in the world, your soul's mission. And the thing that's been coming up in a lot of my sessions is people are feeling a little lost or a little rudderless right now, like they're in between things, or they haven't quite found the thing that is creating a life-giving essence for them in their day-to-day lives, and they're seeking and they're searching and they're efforting and they're attached to trying to find that. And the guides keep bringing in this word Dharma and reminding them that in each moment when they're living in alignment with their values, their beliefs, their truth, that they are in essence walking their path of Dharma and they are living their soul's purpose. And that it's in that alignment that we begin to find our flow, and that flow becomes magnetic when we are living in that authentic expression and that aligned expression. That flow becomes very magnetic. And then the things that we're meant to be doing with our time and how we're meant to be of service, the things that we're meant to experience start to just align with that magnetic energy. And I told a lot of you in Healing Circle in December that we would have a different way of manifesting in 2025. We would move more out of this linear, progressed way of manifesting where we hold a vision and we make a vision board and we do affirmations and we do this and we do that. And we would move more into this place of magnetic alignment where our living in our joy, and the things are just starting to manifest without us having to put in so much effort. And it's interesting because a lot of what I'm hearing from people is that there's part of them that just wants to give up on humaning because the last 5 years have been so hard and we're all so tired. It doesn't help that Mars is in retrograde until I think like February 23rd. And what I find when it goes into retrograde is that we all get extra tired and we need extra sleep. So if that's been happening for you, just know that's par for the course right now. But we've got to really reinvigorate ourselves as humans because we have, I think, become so lost in this heaviness and this density. And that's why we're going to cover some of that in Healing Circle tonight, and work with this topic of remembering who we are. But as you are thinking about how you want to move forward in 2025, January, it used to be very much, I think, at least the circles that I travel in, it's not so much anymore, but it used to be very much about, okay, what are your goals? What are your resolutions? What are your intentions? Blah, blah, blah. There are still some of that, but we are in a place right now where we need to be resting and reinvigorating ourselves, because come spring and come summer, there's going to be a lot of change, and we're in the preparatory phases. As healers, as light workers, as way showers, we go through things a little bit ahead of the collective. I tend to go through things quite a bit ahead of the collective. And so what I know is that around June or July, people in mass are going to start having major shifts and awakenings, and things are going to start to happen, and they're going to need our support. They're going to need us to be not doing the work for them, but be grounded in our own knowing and our own work, so that we can hold that kind of that baseline frequency, if you will, that foundational frequency, while others are going through change and turmoil. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I think we could make that out to be something really scary. I don't think it has to be. It could be some beautiful things that happen in July that bring about that awakening. We don't know what that's going to look like. So right now we should be in this place of rest and reinvigoration, and not in this place of forced marching towards an effort-filled goal that we've set for ourselves. And the other thing that's been coming up in my sessions a lot, and in my own knowing, I went to a yoga class last night, and it was the theme of the yoga class, unbeknownst to me, but it was letting go of needing to get it all done right now, and being willing to take the small baby steps, one little step at a time, to create change, because that's how we create sustainable change. We can't really last in a significant change more than 30, 60, or 90 days, because we're using willpower alone. Once we lose that willpower, all the steam is out of the kettle, and we don't have the energy that we need to maintain the shift. And so the smaller, more subtle changes that we're making right now are better, right? Little small changes in our routine, little things that we're doing to take better care of ourselves, are going to move the needle more than trying to make a drastic holistic change. So this idea of pacing ourselves and slowing down is really important right now in January. And it's very counter to the New Year's resolution energy, right? And regardless, our new year won't really begin until equinox, right? Our calendar has gotten us sideways. It seems like everybody expects everything to be brand new and fresh in January, and that's just not what happens. So if you're in an inward place right now, if you're in a restful place, or honor that. I will also tell you that there is a need right now for creative expression that I'm seeing for a lot of people, myself included. And that might look like art and dance and movement, or it might look like writing, journaling, drawing, different things. And that's getting that energy to flow even when we're in this rest place, because we are creator beings, right? We want to be creating something. And so if there's this anxiety or this angst that you're feeling like, oh, I need to make this happen, and it's not time, see if you can redirect that energy towards a different creative pursuit that might be less goal oriented and less success oriented, and more about just being in the creative expression. And so one of our themes this month is aligning with the states of flow, like realigning ourselves with the things that are flowing. And so a lot of us, I think, have some things that are feeling stuck or stagnant or immovable, maybe. And that's a little bit by design, because it's not time yet. There's not all the information has settled. Not all of the things have happened around us that need to happen for this thing to move forward. And so we're being asked to be patient and to slow down. But if we are just focused on that thing that's not moving, the other metaphor that keeps coming in this week is a watched pot never boils. So we have to shift our expression and our awareness towards something that is in flow. And that flow may not still, even in that thing that you shift towards, be everything that you want it to be. But notice the parts of your life that are flowing and see if you can redirect some of your energy in that passageway or in that pathway towards aligning with that. And see if as you do that, some of these things that you've been focused on, that you've been wanting to shift, start to get some new energy coming in. And if that happens, you can always redirect your energy back there to take a next step if that divine inspiration comes. That's why when we are trying to come up with an idea or understand something, when we're in the shower or when we're driving a car or we're singing a song, we get a download, right? Because our brain has shifted out of that overanalyzation place and into a place of flow, into a state of flow, a neural state of flow, and the ideas just start to come in. They just start to flow in. So that's my kind of bit of advice if you're feeling a little stuck right now or you're feeling like things aren't moving forward. And and I will say, getting back to the basics of whatever your practice is. For me, that's energy cleansing. It's my rituals in the morning. It's moving my body in a way that is more yin and restorative. It's getting outside, even when it's really cold. It's pretty cold today while I'm sitting out here. I'm in the shade because the sun just was too bright. And getting outside for little pockets of time. It might snow here in Charlotte on Friday and Saturday, which I'm excited about. And I'll get outside in that too, and just making the most of the time that we have that is the downtime to feed and nourish ourselves. And so that's what's going on right now. I do feel like there's a lot of fear and anxiety still in the collective because of the things that we know that are happening later this month with our presidency change here in the States. And just, I think there's a palpable unrest and anxiety that's still remaining because there's so many unknowns right now. And you might be feeling that at the microcosm level and at the macrocosm level. And if we just keep aligning with that frequency, it's not a very fun one to align with. And we can be aware of it, we can know it's there, but we don't have to run that as our truth. It is, I told you all last year, like last year was us moving and expanding beyond our limits and letting go of this feeling of responsibility for doing all of the work for the collective. And we really have to figure out how, as light workers and way showers, we maintain our joy and our excitement, and we honor our emotions still, right? Not bypassing anything. But it is not our responsibility to fix these broken systems that are falling apart. It is our Dharma, to use that word, to align with our highest expression and create new, right? Begin to vision new. And if we're tired and we're wrapped up in this collective angst and anxiety, we don't have the energy that we need to create anew. We don't have that vitality. So really take heed this month and maybe even into next month. I do think the energy is gonna move forward and lighten up a little bit next month, and we'll have more forward progression. But especially this month in January, really take heed of what does your soul need to reinvigorate itself? Where have you lost your spark? What have you let fall away that is really an important thing for you? An important practice, an important knowing, an important connection, even. How do you reinvigorate your connection to your body, to the earth, to source? That's really what we're working on. And I'm in the process of visioning a new class that's going to come, I think, in February. I'm trying to figure out the best format. It needs to be 12 classes, and that feels like a lot for one person to sign on to. So I might divide it into two bunches of 6 classes, but it's called Resourced. And we've got to resource ourselves, because the source that we have been conditioned to anchor into, that is the systems and structures, is not working for us. And I did a class a couple of years ago on disconnecting from that. But now is the time for us to reconnect to what our real source is as individuals. And so I'm visioning that. I'll be launching it very soon. So stay tuned for that. And it will really help you, I think, to pull out of that collective consciousness and to figure out what you want to do to build this new beginning that we're imagining here on earth as these systems continue to dismantle. and how you can help in that and how you can be a part of that, even if it's not a big job that you sign on for. It's just how do you experience that energy and live that energy every day, that heaven on earth frequency. So that's coming as well. The last thing that I'll say is that I'm really starting to get even more excited about our travel retreats that are coming this year. The Costa Rica retreat is shaping up in May to be this exploration of the abundance of the feminine energy. And when I went there years ago, what happened to me was I got such deep rest that I was not expecting. And I know we think we go on vacation and we're resting, and we were doing a lot of things, but the depth of how much Mother Earth holds you there and the safety of that is just so richly abundant. Like, I'm looking forward to having people who are wanting to experience the abundance of that and all of the other things that that land has to offer. And we're doing that in May. And then in at the end of July, we're going back to Peru and we're doing a divine masculine anchoring. And so the people who are going to be called to this trip are the ones who know that they have a need or a desire or a want to anchor into a more divine masculine energy in their being, and that they maybe have maybe a lot of that masculine energy already, but maybe it's not in a healed form, or alternatively, they crave that divine masculine stability and they're wanting to anchor that into their lives through their physical body's health, through their mental health, through this desire to really be anchored in a safe and open-hearted warrior frequency even. And it's going to be subtle and sweet too. So if that calls to you, we're doing that at the end of July and early August, and we've got some spaces open for that as well. All right, beautiful beings, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope to see some of you on Healing Circle tonight, or that you can catch the recording, and I'll hopefully be back again next week with another update. All right, have a good one.